If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with me, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. All right, guys, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked, and you know the routine. Look, you can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on X, but most importantly, you can catch us on the Genesis TV network every single Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central Time. It's on Roku. You can get it on Fire Stick. They've also got a website. You can go straight to the website and download Genesis TV. It's free of charge. Go check it out every single Thursday night. Buster Unmasked, 10 p.m. Central Time, Genesis TV. Look, guys, you've seen the trick, the little teaser right there. Tonight, it's all about TriStar Wrestling. I got a whole crew of TriStar guys with me. And I'll tell you what, before we even get started, I'm going to bring the voice of TriStar Wrestling on with me, and we're going to put this man to work, Mr. Pat Dooley. Pat.
Hey, Buster. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. Look, man. I see some of your stuff, dude. Awesome stuff. Old school style. It reminds me of just old school 80s style wrestling build up and stuff, dude. How did you get into this ring announcing?
I mean, as a kid, like everybody got excited for Hulk Hogan. They got excited for, Ultimate Warrior. I got excited for Sean Mooney. The event center popped up and it's like, oh, awesome. I'm going to find out, 3 more guys that are in the Royal Rumble.
Exactly,
I love that stuff. And, when I play with, my Hasbro action figures, got a whole thing of them back there. When I was a kid, I was doing the voice. I was Howard Finkel. I was, whatever, doing the matches. And that was just kind of, that was the thing I liked about wrestling was I liked the storytelling element of it. And so, I wanted to be Bobby Heenan when I grew up.
Right.
And that didn't wind up happening, but it's been a long, strange road to get here. But we'll definitely can get into that more as the conversation goes on. But yeah, it's, the fact that you compare me to that era, that means that I'm doing what it is I'm trying to do. Right. Like that's always been my goal is to, if I can make a show feel like those shows used to make me feel when I was a kid, then I'm doing something right.
Dude, you're right on, dude. It takes me back to my childhood. Every time I see your little build-ups and your layouts for the show. Now that you say that, I see that you're highly influenced by that era of Sean Mooney and that, man. Dude, I'm the same way. Awesome stuff. Look, man. Today it's all about this Saturday night, Hohenwald, Tennessee. TriStar Wrestling back for their second show. Going to be an awesome card. Look, before we even get started, Mark McGee, dude, good evening, brother. I appreciate you watching, Mark. Thank you for joining us. Should be an awesome show. Look, Pat, I said it from the get-go. I'm going to put you to work, man, since you're the voice of TriStar Wrestling, man. I'm gonna let you introduce these guys. Look, here's what we'll do, Pat. We're going to start with the boss man.
Okay.
But before we bring him on, these guys, him and his partner, Coco Anderson, got a big tag team match coming up. Maybe
yes,
2.
They're hoping they're going to have 2, yeah.
Exactly, this Saturday night. But I got a little highlight video on these guys. Once we watch that, we'll come back on, and you can bring this man on, dude.
Let's do it.
They're coming to your town, and they ain't backing down, because the top 1%, boys, they sure ain't messing around. They're out here making moves, no time for singing the blues. They're snapping necks and cashing checks, oh man, they're
Pat, there it is. Bad Omen. These are one of the biggest, baddest tag teams around, dude. But look, the floor is yours, man. Get the boss man out here.
All right. I'm going to step back from the mic a little bit so I don't blow everybody's eardrums out. Introducing next, Buster's second guest is one half of the team, one of the 4 teams that's hoping to claim the first ever TriStar Wrestling Tag Team Championships this Saturday night at the Community Building in Hohenwald, Tennessee. He is one half of Bad Omen and the owner and founder of TriStar Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, Mike Jablonski.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate
Mike,
that, Buster.
What's going on, dude?
Nothing much, man. Just hanging out on a Tuesday night, ready to talk some wrestling. More importantly, some TriStar Wrestling. Tag Team Turmoil is coming to the community building in Hohenwald Saturday night. And, we've held tag team, me and my partner Coco, we've held tag team titles just about at every promotion around here. We're looking to hold the tag team titles in this one, too.
Well, look, man. Second go around here. It's the second time, y'all. Second TriStar show. First show was a great success, dude. This second show, man, I'm looking forward to being an even bigger success. It's a big night, man. The first night, you guys crowned a brand new heavyweight champion, TriStar heavyweight champion in Chris Michaels. Talk to me a little bit about that first night. Give me a minute or so about how it was to get that first show under your belt, Mike.
Well, that first event, man, you're just hoping that everybody in town is supporting you. You're just hoping that you put up enough flyers. You hope you've got enough word of mouth. You've hoped that, people are not associating you with other quote unquote wrestling that's been in town. We covered that last time.
Right.
And, you're just hoping that, there's butts every 18 inches. Well, we came out of the gate swinging, as Pat said in the hype video for that one. And we had a pretty solid event as far as TriStar is concerned. Not to get into the pro wrestling jargon too much, but everybody in that dressing room busted their hump. Everybody on that roster is there because they've been picked, because they're, guys that, are up and coming stars. I didn't put anybody on a roster that I didn't see the ability to make money off of, or I did not see the ability to make money off of, as far as them being talented and them being masters of their craft. And when you take into account that a lot of our guys are younger guys and they're getting experience, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to have TriStar Wrestling so that they get the opportunity to see how it's done and when it's done correctly.
Right. It's all about professionalism, man. Like we said last time, great pro wrestlers that look like pro wrestlers, that are pro wrestlers, that act like pro wrestlers, carry themselves like professional wrestlers. Look, you talking about these young guys, man. Man, you got a guy on your roster. I'm starting to see this guy pop up everywhere. He's the new era, Tevon Jordyn, man. And look, before we even get him on, I actually got a highlight video of him, but before we bring him on, because he's got a big match this Saturday night, I noticed you got a good friend of mine, the president of operations downtown, Bruno, had a few words about this Saturday night. So let's check out what Bruno's got to say, and then we'll get into Tevon Jordyn, the new era.
Hello, wrestling fans. Memphis Wrestling Hall of Famer, downtown Bruno here, who also I happen to be the president of operations of TriStar Wrestling. I got a message for all the wrestling fans. What happened at the conclusion of the match between Chris Michaels and Tevon Jordyn? Unacceptable. As a matter of fact, it's so unacceptable that I'm making a mandatory rematch February 10th at Tag Team Turmoil. It's going to be a heck of a match, a heck of a night, a heck of a card. And I'll tell you what, Connor Casey, my advice to you is stay out of TriStar title business if you know what's good for you. I don't know if I'll be at that event or not. So wait and see. As president of operations, I have a few tricks up my sleeve too. Even if I'm not there, I've got representation. Get ready. February 10th, TriStar Wrestling. It's going to be great. It's like Mama says, it bees that way sometimes.
All right, guys, right there, downtown Bruno, the authority, the president of operations, made the rematch. This young man, like I said, his name is everywhere. I'm seeing it pop up all the time now, all over the place. Hot young guy, man. Hell of a talent. Look, I got a little highlight video of this young man before we bring him on. Let's check this out. And then, Pat, it's time for you to go back to work, my man.
All right.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fuel.
Pushing for them better days. Marcus Sanger tell these fools how we do it my way.
All right, guys, you've seen it right there. Like I said, this is a highly talented dude in the wrestling ring, but he's not only talented in the wrestling ring, he's talented in a lot of other places, man. If you listen real close to that music right there, you might recognize that voice. I tell you what, Pat, let's get this man out here. Let's bring on the new era.
Introducing next, he is the #1 contender for the TriStar Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, and this Saturday he challenges the headliner Chris Michaels. He is the new era Tevon Jordyn.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? How you doing, Buster? Pat,
Dude,
Mike.
Dude, I'm glad you're here, man. Like I said, I see your name everywhere now. You're all over the place. Look, before we even get into your big match in this pro wrestling, man, you know, I listened to that thing. The first time I saw that little highlight video, I didn't catch it, man. I thought it was cool, but I didn't catch it, man. And I listened to it again, and then I started catching it. Dude, talk to me, man. You're not just a wrestler. You also do music. You rap, man. Talk to us a little bit about your music before we get on to this wrestling.
Man, look, I've been doing music since I was probably like 15, just producing, writing, and it was something I always did on the side. And just when I was thinking of, I was like, I want to be different. Going into TriStar is brand new. I wanted something, a fresh start, and I was like, I don't want to use nothing else. I want to use something that I can make. I was like, I can do this. So I sit there and I got lost. Like, what am I supposed to do? What am I going to talk about? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about my upbringing, what I had to go through to get to this point, like struggles I endured. And that's how the theme song came about, just putting everything together. So everything I said it's a true story. It's not just something that was made to just made. Like it's literally Tevon Jordyn. That's about Tevon Jordyn. That's Tevon Jordyn.
Really cool, dude. Really cool, man. I think you can make a killer making original intros for guys, dude.
I've had a
I'm gonna
few.
be honest with you, man. Well, look, you're talking about your upbringing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Tevon, man? It's the first time we've had you on. You're kind of new to me, man. Tell me about how long you've been in the wrestling business. Tell me how you got in this business, dude. And before you even get to wrestling, talk about your upbringing, man. You brought it up. Tell everybody a little bit about who Tevon Jordyn is.
So Pat already knows. Pat's been with me since day one, since my first day in a wrestling ring. So Pat already knows, but I fill in everybody in. So how I got into wrestling was it just happened. I was at an NWA event in Nashville, and there was a wrestler that was in the crowd. There's a guy with a mask, but everybody assumed it was me. I'm like, I'm just here. I'm a fan just like y'all. So like after the show, I got brought backstage because a mutual friend I was with is mutual friends with Big Strong Mims from NWA. So I was talking to him and Elijah Burke, the Pope, and they were talking as like, why have you not done this before? And I was like, never had an opportunity. I didn't know where to start. And they told me about a school called JPWA, which is Dr. Tom Pritchard's and Kane's Academy. And I
Right.
looked up, they run 5 days a week, and that's like 4 hours away from where I live. So I was like, I can't do that, and it would never work. And right when I was about to leave, another wrestler there, I think he was just enhancement talent. He came up and told me, he's like, there's a place called the FXE Wrestling Academy. You should check that out. So took about 2 weeks, and I just decided it's now or never. Like, if I'm gonna do it, now is the time. So in 2022, in the month of May, I took a deep breath. I made that phone call, and it's been history since. Like, going to FXE, it's a blessing, but there was like some roadblocks in there, and I thought it was over. I really did. And Pat, he gave me that phone call. He's like, I think I got something for you. I didn't even hesitate. I'm like, I want to do it. I'm interested, whatever it is. um, my first match was kind of interesting because I didn't know it was going to be a match. I was told it's supposed to be a beatdown segment, me beating somebody down. That turned out to be a match, but it's a beatdown segment. So I literally got my gear the same day. It just came in the mail. And I didn't bring it because I was like, I'm not having a match. I'm just having a segment. So there's no need to dress up in full gear. Turns out I had a match. So I had to wrestle in a shirt and some shorts. It was really good. And I impressed a guy named Shane Morton, who's like heavily influenced me. And ever since, it's been up from there.
Dude, man. Your gear. Talk to me about that for a second. You get your gear in the mail, man. Because when I first got my gear, dude, I thought it was the greatest thing ever, man. When you get your gear, you get it out, especially your boots. Man,
Yeah.
I thought that, man, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie one bit. When I first got my boots, I immediately put them on, man, and walked around the house for like 3-4 hours in these things. You feel like a gladiator in them. Talk to me about when you first got that gear out, man. How did it look? How'd you feel?
I was at work and I got the email that is delivered. I was starting to call it, just, hey, I need to go home, but I waited to the end of the day. And I got home, I put it on, and I walked around with it. I was like, it looks good. I was like, but I'm my own worst critic, so I'm like, I don't think people's gonna like it. So I was kind of like a little bit nervous. But the second time I wore it, they loved it. Everybody's like, we love your gear, even though it was nothing fancy at the time. The gear that I had, it was just, it just looked cool. I guess I rocked it well, but it was
Right.
good. It was a good feeling putting it on. Seeing how it fits. I'm like, okay, I look like a wrestler and not like some guy that picked up off the side of the streets,
Right.
put in the ring that's wearing shorts and a shirt.
Exactly, man. Look, the Simple Man's on here. He said, "Good evening, brothers." Simple Man, we appreciate you watching, dude.
Hey, Don.
What's up,
Boss
Don?
man, Tevon Jordyn, man, TriStar Wrestling. You brought him in there, so man, talk to me about how you.
Yeah,
Talk to me
I'm gonna
about
be honest
Tevon.
with you. I'd seen Tevon at a few bookings that I had been on at different promotions, and I was like, man, we got TriStar coming up. We need to have him before we can't get him anymore, because I'm convinced that this young man is going to be somewhere in a company with some initials in the name very soon, sooner than later. So. Guys, come on out to Hole in Wall to TriStar Wrestling and see Tevon Jordyn while you still can, because you'll be watching him on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday nights, whatever days that the nationally televised companies are on. He's going to be on one of them, if not all of them, sooner than later.
Maybe even Netflix.
Maybe even Netflix.
Who knows, man? Well, look, Pat. You're the one that gave this man the call, man. Talk to me a little bit about Tevon for a second before we really start pulling this card apart.
Yeah, sure. So, Tevon talked about FXE. That was where I started as well. I went for their announcer program, because by the time I started in 2022, I was, 39 and fat, and there was no future for me in the ring. But I had seen I'd had one, long story, but TLDR version, Cliff's Notes. I had a bad experience in my 20s. The first ever indie show I ever worked didn't work out, and I thought that was it. And so I just kind of gave up on wrestling. showed up at FXC thanks to Jerry Lynn tweeting about it. And then about a month or so later, this kid comes in, and like clearly you could tell, like the second Tevon walked in, how bad he wanted it, right? Like he came in like hungry. He wanted to learn everything, and he, I could see a little bit of me in him because I'm one of those guys that if I'm not good at something right away, it pisses me off and I get down on myself. And I could see that in Tevon, where he was a naturally gifted athlete when he came in. He could already move better than guys that had been there for 6 months at that point. Right. But there's a lot more to wrestling than just being a good athlete, right? But he had a killer attitude. He was always, he was always one of the first ones there, one of the last ones to leave. He always put in the work, would come in on weekends and do extra work. But there were problems there getting a show off the ground. We were supposed to there were a couple of times we were supposed to do shows, and they finally did their first show back in November, which, was like almost 2 years after we had all started. And a lot of us have kind of, we've taken other bookings and gone off and done our own thing. Right. And so I was with Shane Wharton at the Southern Wrestling Federation in Tullahoma, and he was on the lookout for a couple of guys. Like he said, the plan was it was supposed to be 2 guys were going to come out and beat down. Tevon, do you remember who it was? I feel like it was Johnny Rodriguez.
No, it was Preston Adams.
That's right. Yeah. You're right. So it was supposed to come out and beat down Preston Adams. That was then going to lead to a tag match the following week. So it was just supposed to be the beatdown, and then the next week was supposed to be his actual debut. But Shane was just like, "Hey, I need guys. I need young guys who are eager to learn, who haven't been doing it very long, who don't have an attitude yet, don't have an ego yet, that'll listen to what we need them to do." I was like, I know the guy. So he showed up that weekend, not in gear, because again, like he said, he didn't think it was going to be. He didn't think it was going to be a match, and then it turned into a match, and it was a good match, and everybody was super complimentary of him, and they brought him back the next week, and then the week after that, and then they turned him babyface pretty quick because they started to see, these T-shirts started to sell really well,
right?
And then wasn't long before they put the open weight title on him, and yeah, he's been the top guy there for 6 months now or so.
Yeah, since probably about August.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the Simple Man's back. He says, Simple Man Don Lee here. He said, Tevon's going to be a star before long. I'm glad to have him as a friend. Pat and Mike have helped me in the development of my career. I am very thankful to know these guys. There you go.
You, Don.
Right back at you, Don.
Appreciate you.
Glad to know you. Glad Mike brought us together here with the TriStar.
West Dog 07 says TriStar Wrestling is going to be lit this Saturday. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure, guys. Yeah. Big night this Saturday night, Hole in Wall, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll be there. We stay lit so we don't have to get lit. I don't think that even makes sense.
Yeah, I felt it.
But no, man. Honestly, from top to bottom, I'm so happy that Don is with us. He's got the right mind frame. He's got the mentality of somebody that wants to learn. Don's had some bad experiences around wrestling before. Some people have treated him less than good, and we're happy to have him. He's a good guy. Like everybody on our roster, top to bottom, is somebody like there's no egos. Everybody checks them at the door when we come in. We have a common goal, and we do what needs to be done. And like I said, Hohenwald was dormant for a long time. There's been so many companies that have tried to run there that just weren't professional wrestling. They advertised, but they just weren't. And we're happy to be back on the 10th, and hopefully this momentum that we have right now will continue so that we can continue to show the city of Hohenwald what's up as far as what true professional wrestling is. Because like I said, that first night, the city, the people were good to us, And like I said, you get them pre-show jitters, that front door
Right.
jitters. You're thinking, man, if I've invested all this time and money and effort into this, and is anybody going to even care? But boy, they did. And the talk of the night, well, when are y'all coming back? When are y'all coming back? When are y'all coming back? So the city is with us, and professional wrestling's gotten a bad rap in a lot of places, and I'm hoping that we can salvage the reputation of pro wrestling, at least in Hohenwald. I'm not worried about what other towns are out there. I don't care what anybody else does. As far as TriStar Wrestling, we're focused on is Hohenwald right now, and we'll do what we do there. And if we grow, great. But if not, I'm content to stay in the town that we originated in.
Right. Well, look, guys, this Saturday night, it's a huge card, and this show is tag team turmoil. But before we get into these tag team matches, Tevon, downtown Bruno, you heard what he said, man. You got this big rematch coming up this Saturday night for the TriStar Wrestling Heavyweight Championship with arguably, like Mike said last time, dude's got more experience than everybody combined in the locker room. Chris Michaels, man, talk to me about the first match and what went on with it. Kind of give me your perspective of what went down with the first match, and then talk to me about what's coming up this Saturday night, and are you ready for this rematch?
Oh yeah, I got you. The first match, I mean, it was great. Working with Chris was a blessing. I mean, the knowledge, I can't argue with anything Mike said. I mean, I don't think anyone can if you know who Chris Michaels is. I mean, this guy's done it all. I mean, anything that you can think of just about and guys that he's worked with, his resume is just incredible. So just getting in the ring with somebody like that is like, it's been a blessing. And I can't thank Mike enough. I can't thank Chris enough for the great match that we had until he did what he did at the end. Now, I don't know what Chris Michaels and Connor Casey has up their sleeve, but there was something fishy about that first match at the end. He can say all day long that the low blow wasn't intentional, but what he did after that, and then super kicking me in front of all my people, all my family, the fans that had on my merch. I mean, that was uncalled for. So there's something going on with those two, but I don't really care. I just know Saturday, I'm really got my head on a swivel, and the only goal in my mind is leaving there with the TriStar title, and that's what's gonna happen.
Now, Tevon, I can sit here and I can blow smoke and I can let you think like that, but let's say the shoe was on the other foot. You had a man in a fireman's carry and you lost your grip and accidentally hit somebody with a low blow. The objective at the end of the night is to win the match, right or wrong.
You're right.
So if you had that advantage and it just dropped in your lap, you would take it too. So you can't really fault. I don't think Chris wants anything to do with Connor. Connor's got. I hate to speak ill of anybody that's not here to defend themselves, but I'd say it to his face. He's just got. I have said it to his face. He's got a very punchable face, and I just don't know that Chris is involved with him the way that you're kind of going with, man. I think Chris is his own man. Chris has been in the business for a long time. He's won a lot of titles. He's helped train some of the guys that your favorite wrestlers look up to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Chris is got anything to do with Connor. I think it was just a slight mishap. I think Chris is, he at the end of the day, he wants that winner's share of the purse at the end of the night. And if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd have kicked him too.
Well, look, guys, speaking of Connor Casey, he actually had some words. Look, Pat, let's take a look, listen to what Connor had to say. And then when we come back, I want to get your perspective on Connor Casey, Tevon Jordyn, Chris Michaels in this big matchup coming up. Yeah. Let's check this out.
Happy to get it.
It only took one night, and I was able to flip the future of TriStar Wrestling on its head. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Connor Casey, and if you you were not at New Revolutions earlier this month, you missed the debut of the self-made man, as I personally took the TriStar Heavyweight Championship and awarded it to my first client, Chris Michaels. Chris, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what we were able to accomplish. And I'll just chalk up that awkwardness we had after the match to a crisis of conscience. It's okay. I forgive you, and I can't wait to see you on February 10th. Speaking of which, tag team turmoil. We've got ourselves another tournament to crown the very first TriStar tag team champions. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got some breaking news. I have personally signed one of the teams in that tournament to exclusive KC Enterprise contracts. And I will ensure that by the end of the night, I will be handing them those TriStar tag team titles. And with that, I will have every prize this company has to offer in just 1 month. Now that's just good business. But which team did I hire? Well, you'll just have to stay tuned and find out.
All right, guys.
He's got a
Connor
face.
Punchable face. Connor Casey.
I agree with you on that.
Look, now, Big Mike, you said you said you didn't think Chris had any cahoots, but from Connor's version, it sounds like there might be something going on there. And not only that, it sounds like Connor plans on pretty much taking all the gold in TriStar Wrestling. Pat, look, man. Give us your perspective on Connor Casey and this big match coming up this Saturday night, Hohenwald.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to expand on the story I told a little earlier about my bad experience. So, that's probably wise, Don. I probably shouldn't be commenting. I should be the impartial announcer. But, you ask a direct question, I'm going to give you a direct answer. That's just the kind of
Put you on the spot, man.
Yeah. So, 2006, I worked at one show. Promoter strung me along. I wound up doing hours of work for him on commentary, editing, all that kind of stuff. Zero pay. I was supposed to get significantly more than zero. I got zero. I met Connor in 2022, about the same time I met Tevon. And, I talked about how hungry Tevon was and how eager to learn he was. Connor was the opposite of that. Connor already knew it all. Connor came in, he's got money, he's got influence, he's already made a name for himself in the business world, and he's decided that his next big investment is wrestling. And the way you get influence in wrestling is you manage champions. So that's why he got himself involved in Tevon's match with Chris Michaels. And I'm sort of inclined to agree with Mike on this, because I think at the time, I don't think Chris meant to do it. But the longer those two stood in the ring together, and the longer they jaw-jacked, and then Chris kicking Tevon, they may not have been in cahoots before, but they might be now. And I think Tavon's right to be wary. I think Mike's right that, Chris has been around. I'm looking at his cage match profile right now. 1991, he debuted. 33-year pro.
Right.
Chris is one of those guys that he knows how the game is played, right? And maybe he didn't think he needed a manager, but maybe he's also not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. But I'm also, a 33-year vet. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until he shows me otherwise.
Man, 33 years in the business. Look, Chris Michaels has seen everything there is to see in this wrestling business. He's experienced it. Tevon, this Saturday night, man, rematch, heavyweight title on the line. And look, we don't know where Chris stands 100%, but it sounds like Connor Casey is going to be involved one way or another. So how do you plan on handling this situation, man? You not only got to worry about Chris Michaels, which is enough on its own, but you also kind of got to have eyes in the back of your head whether they're not in cahoots, Connor Casey's going to get involved from what I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, the mistakes from the first match was, I mean, my experience in the business. I wasn't thinking straight. I was letting the emotions from all the cheers and stuff, all the hype, get to me. I wasn't paying attention. So I spent these last couple weeks focusing, practicing. Like this time, it's gonna be a whole different Tevon. Like I got my head on a swivel, and I'm not gonna get lost in the sauce. Like I said, I have one goal, and that's beating Chris Michaels 1, 2, 3, or tapping him out like I almost did the first show and getting that TriStar title. Connor Casey, I'm telling you, if he comes out there, it's not going to be pretty at all. And I'm not going to make the same rookie mistake twice. Like the first time, cool, you got me, bravo. It's not going to happen again. I'm 100% focused on this match.
Look, guys, this match alone is worth the price of admission by itself, but that's not the only match, man. Like it said, like the flyer said, this is tag team turmoil. And look, Pat, you're the guy. You know how these matches are, who's going against who. So I'll tell you what, I do have some promos from some of these guys. So you kind of take us through how the matchup, take us through the card. And if I have promos of the guys we're talking about, we'll check them out because it's a big night. Look, the boss man's, he's even got a stake in this night, man. You got Downtown Bruno as the president of operations. I see Damian Wayne is the head of talent relations. Look, that's a dude. He's got a lot of experience. He's an old school mentality guy, hell of a talent in the ring. And nobody's going to push him around.
No.
But look, take us through these, start telling us about this tournament we got coming up this Saturday night.
So like the flyer says, it's 4 teams, 2 rounds, 1 new champions, right? So on one side of the bracket, you've got, sorry, Mike, but the team that beat you and Coco on January 6th, Ryder Anderson, Johnny Bandana, who, they're the only, I mean, there's been 1 tag team match in TriStar history, and they won.
Hold up just a second, Pat. You keep throwing that out. You did that in the news brief that you did running down the initial card. And the history books may in fact say that Ryder and Bandana beat Bad Omen. Congratulations. Who looked like a winner at the end of the night? Because if I remember correctly, and I'm sure everybody that was there and everybody that's in this conversation with the exception of Buster knows that they got left laying that night.
They did.
You're not going to make a laughingstock of Bad Omen, myself, Mike Jablonski, and the knockout artist, Coco Anderson, or the knockout king, Coco Anderson. You're not going to make a laughingstock out of us easily. So they may have that win in the record book, but they sure paid for it. And they better hope that they don't see us again because it's going to be more of the same for them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No lies detected there. After the match, you and Coco definitely, hate to use the insidery term, but y'all got your heat back. They beat those 2 down, left them lying, walked out. Johnny and Ryder needed some help getting back. It was not a pretty scene. So I know Mike and Coco would love to get their hands on those 2 again, but there's a chance that they may not make it because they are going to be against the debuting Mike Revick, who we haven't seen in TriStar yet, and one of the guys who was in the 4-man tournament to crown the first heavyweight champion, Zach Hartnell, who lost to Chris Michaels in the semis, and then Chris beat Tevon for the title. Sorry, Tevon.
Well, look here, Pat. Before, if y'all want to, I've actually got a few words from Michael Maverick. Let's see what Mr. Maverick had to say, and you can pick up right where you left off, my man.
All right.
TriStar Wrestling, February 10th, Tag Team Turmoil. Mavericks back. And this time, I got a new opponent, Crocodile Adrian Thomas. I hear you can go. I hear the kid's talented. But look, Adrian Thomas, I didn't come to TriStar Wrestling to flounder at the bottom. I came to TriStar Wrestling to climb that ladder. all the way to the top, become champion. Now, it looks like you're in my way. Now, there's several ways that I can go that'll lead me to victory. Alright? There's only one path for you, Adrian Thomas. When you get hit with that drop kick off the top, just know you're in the danger zone. Are you ready?
All right,
So,
guys,
yeah, for
Michael
the-
Maverick. Well, let me ask you this. Is his match been changed or something?
Yeah,
It has actually for the second show in a row. Michael Maverick's original opponent had to get changed. You know, I've always said that. I mean, not always, but since I got into the business, that if I was ever going to get a tattoo, which I won't because I got a thing about needles, but if I was, it'd just say "card subject to change," right?
Right.
And so on the first show, he was supposed to be against somebody that didn't wind up happening. So instead, he took on gunslinger Cody James, won that match. The original plan was they were supposed to have a rematch this Saturday night. But again, and Adrian Thomas stepped up. So now, you know, Maverick is he's showing that he's one of the most adaptable guys on the TriStar roster. You know, it doesn't matter who we throw at him. He's always enthusiastic to get in there. You know, the crowd's behind him. And yeah, I think that match with Adrian Thomas is going to be a lot of fun, even if it wasn't, you know, it wasn't what the plan was when things first started coming together.
Right. Card subject to change, man. That's the best words ever wrote in the wrestling business. I'll be honest with you. Look, I swear, when I first got in the business, cards did not say that below it. It's nowhere on it. Most cards never said cards subject to change. And somewhere about mid-90s, that's when you started seeing them on everything. Card subject to change, dude. It happens. It's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Mike, card subject to change, man. It's pro wrestling. Talk to me about Michael Maverick and this matchup he's got coming up.
Well, Michael Maverick, you know, he, like Pat was just saying, he was fully expecting to take on the one gunslinger Cody James, but the injury bug unfortunately hit Mr. James, and he's going to be out of action for quite some time. We'll look at bringing him back whenever, you know, he gets healed up and ready. But you know, there's the way the wrestling business is. There's a lot of guys out there looking for spots, a lot of guys out there looking for jobs, and Adrian Thomas was one of the guys that was in the inbox and was ready to go and was just looking for an opportunity. I've wrestled Adrian twice, and both of those encounters were knockout, drag out. You know, he's the crocodile. He's Bamaye. He's got a mixed martial arts background. Maverick may, in fact, be taking Mr. Thomas a little too lightly, and that may be his undoing. But he said it himself in his interview. You know, he's not there just to take up a spot on the roster. He was there for the title. So, you know, Tevon, that could possibly be future competition if you end up winning it. Everybody here on our roster is hungry, and we're not trying to hold anybody down. We're trying to you know, if they are a competitor, we're going to give them their opportunity, and we're going to let them showcase what they can do.
Yeah. Tevon, you ain't getting off the hook on this one, my man. Look, talk to us about Michael Maverick and this matchup coming up, because like the boss man said, either one of these guys could be in your future somewhere down the line. So give us your perspective on this matchup and these guys.
So I'll start out with Michael Maverick first. That was my the 6th of January is my first time meeting him. And watching wrestler, I mean, he's got that explosiveness in him. Like he's really got it. You know, for him to say he's not done this in 10 years, I mean, it looked like he ain't lost a beat. He did really good, and looking forward to what he can do. And if we cross paths, I would love that. I love a good challenge, and I think we could have a banger of a match. Now, jump into the crocodile. Adrian was my 6th match that I had in this industry. So I've already had my experience with him. And like Mike said, do not thread the guy lightly. No matter how his size, how small he may look, this guy is the real deal. And when he strikes, you will feel it. Everything, I mean, everything is crisp. Like he gave me a run for the money whenever I first started, but I gave it right back to him.
Not
And
to cut you off, Tevon, but the term bubble gum comes to mind. He can tie you up in so many knots you'll be begging for a pair of scissors.
yeah. Yeah, and he had me in one of those holds, and thank God I'm long and stretchy. I was able to get my foot on the rope because it was almost over. But yeah, this is a guy that I faced when I was fresh green. So if future terms I happen to run into him again, I expect the same matchup, just a little bit stronger. He got some weak points in me. Like I said, I was fresh. He was matched like 5 or 6 for me, and looking forward. But this is a match that's going to be really good. So anybody watching, anybody at the show, like, you definitely want to see that one too. These are 2 great guys, and you're gonna have a really good match. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and I think it's worth pointing out that coming out of that show, there's only 2 singles wrestlers on the whole roster that are undefeated right now. One of them's Chris Michaels, and the other one's Michael Maverick.
Yeah,
there you go, right there. Pat, the floor is yours, my man. Go on and take us back into this tag team tournament. Like I said, I've got a few more promos. When we get to these guys, we'll see what they have to say. Floor is yours.
So, like I said, on one side of the bracket, you got Ryder and Bandana hoping to make it to the finals, hoping to win the titles after winning, but then being left laying on the 6th. Revick and Hartnell have teamed before. Hartnell we've only seen as a singles guy in TriStar. Revick we haven't seen at all, but that should be a really solid match. The other side of the bracket is real interesting to me because on one side of it, you've got Mike and you've got Coco, Bad Omen, probably the most dangerous tag team in the Mid-South region, like for, states around. Right. You go to Rock City, you look out over the 7 states or whatever you can see there. That's Bad Omen territory, man. These guys have been all over. They beat everybody. So, if I were a betting man, I'd put pretty good money on Bad Omen to win this whole thing. Like they're that good. Their opponents are there's a grand tradition in pro wrestling of odd couple tag teams, right? Booker T and Gold Dust, R-Truth and any R-Truth tag team partner. Like there's, guys that just don't seem like they should click that do. I don't know how Goth Knight and Majestic are going to gel. Tevon knows Majestic real well. These guys have been going at it over the SWF Openweight title for months. These guys, I mean, hate's a strong word, but there's a real strong dislike between those 2 guys. Majestic is, Tevon has scrapped and he's busted his ass and he has worked harder than anybody that I've seen in this business. And Majestic is one of those guys that the stuff comes easy to him physically because everything else comes easy to him, right? Money, women, cars, like everything. He's that guy, right? And we
all need that luck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, look, guys, I actually got some Goth Knight has got a few words and Majestic does too. Let's listen to these guys and then we'll pick up right where we left off here.
February 10th, Boulevard, Tennessee, Tag Team Turmoil. You have Majestic and Goth Knight versus the Bad Omen. You see, I sent Goth Knight a message. I didn't call him because he didn't have a cell phone number because we ain't cool like that. But anyway, he got a message sent to him and said, listen, man, you listen to Majestic and do half the stuff I do, then maybe one day you'll be a tag team champion or be a champion nonetheless. See, I've been all across Tennessee and I've held championship gold. See, Goth Knight has been a loser up until he's met me. But February 10th, I'm taking Goth Knight to the promised land, and that's championship gold in Hollow, Tennessee, February 10th. Get your tickets. I'll see you there.
All right, guys, Majestic right there. Look, confident guy, man. I see he's got the high dollar coat, man. Like you said, he's got the women, he's got the money, everything comes easy to him. But God night, when you said odd couple, dude, before we even get into this, let's just watch God night, because when you say odd couple, there ain't no odder couple than these two guys right here.
That was a good one, too. I can't believe you just did it. I can't believe you just did it. Oh, wait, no. How about this one? Yeah. Oh, wait. No, this one right here. You can't see my face. I don't want to go. You can see my face. Oh, wait. No, this one. I'm a rock and roll guy. I'm a rock and roll wrestling guy. Practicing championship poses can get really exhausting, but when me and my bestie Majestic win tag team turmoil on February 10th in Hole in Wall, Tennessee for TriStar Wrestling, we gotta have the right perfect pose. He already told me ahead of time. He's like, "Golf night, you better not embarrass me in front of everybody." So I'll make sure that I look like a champion on February 10th in Hole in Wall, Tennessee for TriStar Wrestling. Because me and my bestie Majestic are going to win the belts. He already told me that he's already gave me the John Deere tractor because he already has so much confidence in me. But he said he's only going to give me the keys if we win the title. So, again, see us on February 10th in Hole in Wall, Tennessee, where we will win those tag team titles. See.
All right, guys, look. Odd couple. I mean, it's obviously, I'm assuming Majestic is the captain of this team, but do these guys have any chance in the world of making it through this tournament and ever becoming the champions? Is there any chance in the world these two can coexist together in the same space?
Never count anybody out in wrestling.
No, you can go ahead and count them out.
These guys,
you can go ahead and count them out. And nothing against Majestic. He is. You know, I know Tevon don't particularly care for him, but you got to give the devil his due. He's an impressive athlete, and Goff is a nice guy, but you got to understand that you're getting in the ring with the top 1% of tag team wrestling in the industry today. You're getting in the ring with Bad Omen. I mean, Coco Anderson would smack a sandwich out of somebody's hand if they looked at him funny, and I would do a lot worse that I'm not going to put on public record on this podcast. All I'm going to say is this: you know, a lot of people, they're going to look at me, "Oh, well, you're the owner." I didn't have anything to do with that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now. I put a head of talent relations, and I've got a president of operations. I may own TriStar Wrestling, but I'm still a wrestler. And even I know that I don't need to have my hands in things. But this, it's two lambs being led to slaughter, basically, is what that match is going to end up being. Stamp that. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen.
So, you know, we talk about odd couples and, you know, talk about Majestic and his history with Tevon. You know, you can never count anybody out in wrestling. I know it would be really easy to do, considering, you know, the top 1% against two guys who don't, well, I was going to say two guys who don't like each other. One guy that doesn't like his partner and the other guy thinking his partner's his best friend. But Majestic is one of the top up-and-coming talents in Tennessee. Like, bell to bell, there are not a lot of guys with his level of experience that are doing the things he's already doing, right? And Goth
is a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. But also, you should never, ever underestimate a crazy dude, right? You never know. Like with Majestic, you kind of know what you're getting, right? It's going to be athletic. It's going to probably be dirty. It's going to be, you know, show-offy. Goth Knight when I first met him, was carrying a little hat box with him to the ring for his matches at SWF. He wrestles or I don't know if he still does because I haven't seen him work in a couple months, but he wears that like rugby headpiece thing, and I don't know if he thinks it like gives him special powers or if that's why he's able to talk to the hat box. But he's got a way with inanimate objects. And I don't know, maybe those tag team titles are telling him stuff. Maybe maybe they've got a better game plan than he does. Like I said, if I were a betting man, my money would be on Bad Omen to win this whole thing. But whatever happens with Bad Omen against Goth Knight and Majestic, it's going to be entertaining as hell.
Tevon, you've got history with Majestic, but Goth Knight, you got any history with this dude whatsoever? Because I'm going to tell you something. He looks like he's entertaining as hell. He kind of reminds me of Rick Steiner, man, when Steiner used to talk to his hand. But Tevon, talk to me about these guys, man. Tell me a little bit about you and Majestic, y'all's history, and then what you know about Goth Knight. Because once again, if you win this heavyweight title, either one of these guys could possibly be in your future at TriStar Wrestling, man.
It's kind of interesting. I do have history with both of these guys. I mean, going longer than the reign. I think Majestic, our issue was trying to outdo one another, like especially when it came to SWF. But what I thought was friendly competition was this guy was going to do anything to be at the top, whether he had to go cheat, get these lawyers and stuff, or use weapons like chains. I mean, it went from a friendly competition to I'm really gonna go over you. So that's my issue with Majestic. Is this is a very very gifted guy. Don't get me wrong, and he's very very talented. But at the same time, this guy is like one of the lowest, and he will do anything and everything to get to the top, and he don't care who he has to screw over. I wouldn't trust him not one bit. Hell, if he's on this video buster, he'll probably try to cheat and steal your camera or something. That's how this guy.
No, man. I got cheap shit, man. He wouldn't want my stuff. I can tell by the way he looked and his dress and his coat and stuff.
Yeah.
He don't want nothing I got, dude.
Oh, he wants everything because he's walking around with something that belongs to me, but I ain't gonna get into that. But Goth Knight, I do have a history with that guy as well. Whenever he broke into the industry, I was his first person he went against, and we had a history. I beat him twice, and this guy, I mean, pulling out boxes and stuff. I mean, it's gonna be a very, very, very interesting match. Just seeing, like Pat said, and this is very, very odd couple. The box situation. He's gonna be talking to the box. Majestic gonna talk to the box. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see this stuff live and in person on the 10th. Like, I'm gonna keep my eyes on it. But if I've had bouts with both of them, so if it does come to that where I have to face them in the future, I'm ready for both of them.
There you go, man.
Let's not count out the fact that we saw the video earlier. Connor says he's already signed one of these teams.
Yeah.
Right.
What if it's Goth and Majestic?
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, I could tell you who it isn't, and that's myself and Coco Anderson.
Say, y'all don't need a manager.
We got this over here.
Bold prediction. Bad Omen predicting they're going to take this whole tournament and take these tag team titles, man.
He's going to give him a tractor if he wins the tag team title. What in the hell?
Well, he already gave him the tractor. He's just going to give him the keys if they win. Right now, he just has a very expensive lawn ornament.
Like, I know he'll fit in fine with the great people of Hohenwald, but still.
Yeah. Good luck with that. He might bite you.
There you go, man. You might have to get a rabies shot, dude.
I've had my rabies vaccinations. I'm good.
So you're good to go. Look, Alicia Wayne says hi, Alicia. Hi, girl. We appreciate you watching. Simple Man came back and he said, Again, I'm not commenting. I'm just an official LOL. And then he came back and says Mike is frozen. Yeah, Mike's froze a few times, man.
Yeah.
We got him back.
Pat, the floor is back to you, man. You take us through the rest of this tournament, man, and smarten us up on who the next team is in this tournament.
Yeah, so I mean that's that. On the one side, it's Ryder and Bandana against Revic and Hartnell. On the other side, it's Bad Omen against Goth and Majestic. Winners meet in the Mike, is it the main event? It's the semi-main, right? Because the main is Tevon and Chris.
Yeah.
But tag team titles will be on the line. It could be Bad Omen against Ryder and Bandana in a rematch. Could be Revic and Hartnell against Goth and Majestic. Goth and Majestic against Ryder and Bandana. Revic and Hartnell against Bad Omen. There's I don't know. I lost count. There's 6 different matches that it could possibly be. So who knows what's going to wind up happening. Everybody knows who they've got in their first match. Nobody knows who's going to be waiting for them in that semi-main event. So anything can happen. Tevon can attest to that. He knew going into New Revolutions that, I got Cody James in the opener, but then do I have the headliner Chris Michaels? Do I have the exception Zach Hartnell? Who's waiting for me in that main event? Mike's in a similar boat now. He's, he knows that he and Coco have got Goth and Majestic, but if they win that, who's next? Is it a rematch with Ryder and Bandana, or do they get, Revic and Hartnell, who at that point would be the only undefeated team in TriStar Wrestling?
Going to be a big night this Saturday night. Everybody's going to have to come out to Hohenwald, Tennessee, and watch this show and see how all this plays out, man. There could be a brand new TriStar Wrestling heavyweight champion in Tevon Jordyn. They could be new tag team champions. Big Mike from Bad Omens done made the prediction that they're taking it all. Him and Coco Anderson are walking out the champions, but we don't know, man. You got to show up Saturday night in Hohenwald, Tennessee, buy your ticket, come in, and find out for yourself. Look, Mike, tell us about this Saturday night. Tell us when bell time is. Tell people exactly where the building is, and tell us ticket prices, dude.
Okay, the venue is the community building at 115 Smith Avenue in Hohenwald, Tennessee. We're the metal frame building across from the baseball fields. Ticket prices are $10. Doors open at 6. Bell time is promptly at 7 p.m. And you're going to get a full night of professional wrestling action, the way you remember it when you were younger, the way it's supposed to be done. If you're tired of looking at event flyers and seeing guys that have to goodness gracious, I'm so excited I can't even talk. If you're tired of seeing guys that have to step on step stools to be on flyers, and you're tired of people that buy their own heavyweight titles, come on out to TriStar Wrestling and see real professional wrestling action the way it's supposed to be done, not the way that people have been pretending to do it.
And the real tag team turmoil.
The real tag team.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Did I say that?
Except no substitutes. Everything Mike just said, plus kids 5 and under are free.
And also,
so bring the kids, bring the family.
Ahead. Yeah, and you can pre-order your tickets ahead.
Hold on, guys. I got the Venmo and the Cash App thing. Let me get it pulled up here, and then y'all can tell everybody about this, dude. They can get them advanced tickets early. We're going to pull the Venmo up first. It's the first one here.
I'm frozen again. All right.
You all right? We can hear you. Your voice is never frozen, dude.
TV, scan that. You can pay your price, put down your name that you'd like them reserved under and how many seats you're reserving. Of course, that would coincide with the $10 ticket price. And we'll have a will call list at the door. You present your ID and show the payment to the nice, beautiful young lady that'll be taking the ticket to the door, and she'll make sure that you get in and your seats will be reserved for you ahead of time.
Yeah.
Let me get this Cash App when pulled up.
And we talked about the kids getting in free, and Mike was talking about, it's old school wrestling. One thing that I actually had, Tevon and Mike and I do a lot of shows around this general area. And so we get to meet a lot of the fans, and we see a lot of the same fans at a lot of the same shows. I had one of the fans who I've known for a while, because she's a regular at SWF, was at New Revolutions, pulled me aside at the next SWF show afterwards. Like, I had a great time Saturday night. That was a great show, and I love that it was family friendly. There was nothing on this show that I would have been ashamed to bring my kids to, that I would have been ashamed to bring my family to. It was just a good old-fashioned wrestling show, and that's what TriStar is. It's like you said, it's wrestling the way you remember it from when you were a kid. It's that 80s, 90s, even going back to the Crockett days. It's it's good old-fashioned Southern wrestling without the wrestling.
Professional wrestling the way it should be. Professionals doing it.
Yeah.
And the key word's professional.
Professional.
Exactly.
Absolutely, and it's going to continue to be that way. I've got kids myself, and I've been on a lot of events, and there's a lot of events that I've been to and I've been a part of that I couldn't have brought my family to. I would have been ashamed of them to be a part of some of the language and the finger flipping and some of the things that go on. But you're not going to have to worry about that with TriStar Wrestling.
Nope.
You're going to have family friendly wrestling the way that you remember it, what you grew up on, and something that you can take your kids to make memories for them, so that they'll have something to look back fondly on when they're in the position that you're in now. That's the goal with TriStar Wrestling.
Right. And one thing I would say about TriStar Wrestling is, and like Pat and Mike was saying, we've been to a lot of promotions, but this is one promotion I would say the entire show wasn't no butts out of their seats unless they were cheering, unless it was intermission. Everybody was glued in. Every match had noise. And, I've been on shows where some matches it's quiet. You can drop a pin on the ground and hear it. It's just, people are at concession stands. People wasn't at no concession stands until intermission. Everybody was glued on each match. That's how incredible this organization is. And Mike he's done everything he could to make it the best possible, and he's done a really, really good job with picking the talent. Not only the talent, the wrestlers, the referees, the people behind the curtain. Just everything that he's done to make this show great has been incredible. New Revolutions was a success, and come Saturday, Tag Team Turmoil is going to be even a bigger success. It's really been a great show, and this is a great organization to if you're a fan watching and you love wrestling, like, this is one that you want to see, because he put everything he has into it, and it's a great show. Like you said, family friendly. Bring the kids. The kids will have a good time. Even the kids were watching. Some shows kids would be running around playing. They were in seats cheering, booing when the heels were doing stuff. It's great. Like, TriStar Wrestling it's on the come up, and this is the second show, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's what great pro wrestling is supposed to do. It pulls the fans into it, makes them invest into the guys and what's going on and what they're doing. That's great pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is all about emotion, evoking emotion out of your audience. Whether it's hate, whether it's cheers, it does not matter. Whether they're flipping you the bird or throwing stuff at you, you want them invested to that level, because that's really at the essence of what pro wrestling truly is. Look, guys, West Dog 07 come back and he says, I tell you what, the real winners of Tag Team Turmoil will be the fans. It's going to be an incredible show, and I believe it will, guys. TriStar Wrestling this Saturday night, Hohenwald, Tennessee. Look, Tevon, before we get out of here, tell any of these people where they can, any promoters or anybody out there looking to book Tevon or just wanting to get in touch with Tevon, tell them how they can do that, man.
You can, if you have Facebook, Instagram, you can DM me. Also, you can email me. My email is officialtevonjordyn@gmail.com, and we can set it up. We talk, and I'm interested in all of it, as long as it's not on the same days as TriStar Wrestling, because every day's booked for them. So any days other than that, if I'm not booked already, I'm invested. So again, my name's at the bottom of the screen right there, Tevon Jordyn. Look me up, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or again, email me at officialtevonjordyn.com or at gmail.com. And we can talk and see what I can do to help bring some sensation to your show.
Well, look here, Tevon, man. I thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been cool, man. I've enjoyed talking with you, man. You're a very talented dude in the ring and out. Dude, I wish you all the luck this Saturday night. I know you got a fight on your hands with Chris Michaels, maybe even Connor Casey, but I'm pulling for you, dude.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having me.
Tevon, you have a great night, my friend.
You too, sir.
All right, guys. Boss man, you got a big match coming up this Saturday too, man. You could walk out. You and Coco Bad Omen could be the first ever TriStar Wrestling Tag Team Champions this Saturday night in Tag Team Turmoil. Dude, man, I love it. Like I said, I loved the last show. I had a blast talking to you and Coco. I've had a blast this time. And the same as Tevon, dude. I wish you and Coco all the luck in the world this Saturday night.
Man, we appreciate you I appreciate you having me on this week. Myself and Coco appreciated you having us on last time. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about TriStar Wrestling. I really feel that the good Lord has blessed us with a good group of talent and a good group of people that see the vision and have adopted it as their own home promotion as well. It's not just me. It's the fans. It's the boys on the back. It's the employees. It's the security. Like it's all. I know this is cliche, but it's all one big family, and it's a labor of love. And we're going to continue to bring you these events, and bust ass to do it. So, Buster, thank you for having us on and giving us the opportunity to let people know where we're at.
Dude, it's been my pleasure. Mike, you have a great night. You and your family have an awesome night. And this Saturday night, I wish TriStar Wrestling all the best, dude. I hope y'all pack the house, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that.
You take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right, Pat, we're going to end just the way we started. But before we get out of here, I want you to tell these people if they want to get a hold of you, how they can do that. But then I want you to run down TriStar Wrestling one more time this Saturday night before we go, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Tevon, my number one priority right now is TriStar. I do work for a bunch of other local promotions, but get in touch. DM me. I'm on Facebook / yours truly, Pat Dooley is my Facebook. My Twitter /X. I'm never going to call it X. Let's be honest. I'm never going to call it X. Is at yours, URS truly Dooley, because there's a character limit on how long your name can be. I'm on YouTube at Pat Dooley Wrestling, and Dooley Noted Bookings at gmail.com is my email. Trying to get a website up just to try and consolidate all of that into one place. Right. But right now, yours truly, Pat Dooley on Facebook, truly Dooley on Twitter, Pat Dooley Wrestling on YouTube, and Dooley Noted Bookings at gmail.com.
All right, Pat, it's time for you to do your best, Sean Mooney, man. Take us into the event center and tell us about TriStar Wrestling this Saturday night one last time.
Coming this Saturday night to the community building, 115 Smith Avenue in Hohenwald, Tennessee. $10 for advance or at-the-door tickets. Children 5 and under get in free. Bell time is 7 o'clock. The main attraction is the Tag Team Turmoil. We're going to determine the first ever TriStar Wrestling Tag Team Champions in a 4-team tournament across 3 matches. On one side of the bracket, it is Bad Omen, the team of Coco Anderson and Mike Jablonski, against the unusual duo of Goth Knight and Majestic. On the other side of the bracket, it's the only undefeated team in TriStar Wrestling, Ryder Anderson and Johnny Bandana, as they take on newcomer Mike Revick and the exception Zach Hartnell. The winners of those 2 matches will face off later on in the evening for the titles. Meanwhile, in singles action in a featured bout, Michael Maverick hopes to remain undefeated in TriStar Wrestling when he goes one-on-one against Adrian Thomas, making his TriStar debut. And then in our main event, the headliner, Chris Michaels, the first ever reigning, defending TriStar Wrestling heavyweight champion, defends the title against the man that he beat for that belt, the new era, Tevon Jordyn. And the looming specter behind it all, Connor Casey, says he's already bought one of the Tag Team Turmoil participants. He says he's already in bed with Chris Michaels. What role will he play at TriStar Wrestling's Tag Team Turmoil this Saturday night, February 10th? The only way to find out is to be at the community center, the community building, rather, 115 Smith Avenue, Hohenwald, Tennessee, 7 o'clock bell time. You do not want to miss it.
Pat, awesome, dude. Look, my friend, I've enjoyed having you. It's been my pleasure, dude. Every time I hear you do that, man, it takes me back to my childhood.
Well, dude, I appreciate that, Buster. I appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Pat, I wish you all the best in your future in the wrestling business, man. and you have a great night, my friend.
Thank you, brother. You too.
All right, y'all, you heard it right there. I ain't going to recap it because I couldn't do no better than that. All I'm going to tell you is this Saturday night, Hohenwald, Tennessee, TriStar Wrestling. Do not miss this show. It's going to be awesome. You're going to crown brand new tag team champions Saturday night, and we're going to maybe crown a brand new TriStar Wrestling heavyweight champion. Who knows what's going to happen? You'll never know if you don't show. Look, guys, I want to thank everybody that interacted with us, everybody who's watched. But look, tomorrow night, Buster Unmasked is back, 7 p.m. I've got the authentic Ray Ivy. He's a second-generation wrestler. He's got over 20 years in the business, a very interesting dude. And we're going to talk to this man tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thursday night, Buster Unmasked is back again, 7 p.m. I've got professional ring announcer, school teacher, and artist, Alan Pounds. This dude is highly talented. We're going to talk about him, about his teaching career. We're going to talk about his ring announcing, and we're going to talk a lot about his art. We're going to show a lot of his art off. He's a very, very talented dude. And then look, Sunday night, 7 p.m., it's All Pro Wrestling out of Marianna, Arkansas. I got the man himself, the owner and founder, Ricky Kennedy. Do not miss none of these shows. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Thursday night, 7 p.m., and Sunday night, 7 p.m. Guys, thank everybody for watching. I appreciate all y'all, and y'all have a great night. If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with me, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed.